our last session, we talked about 7 cash flow goals that you should pursue as a business owner in your business. And those are kind of the targets that you want to get to. And when you get to the place where you've achieved all 7 of those goals, you're going to have such a strong, powerful financial position as a person, as an owner, and as a business. But in that process, sometimes we run into roadblocks. Sometimes we get into tight spots, and cash flow becomes a huge challenge or a problem for us. And so what I want to do in this session is I want to give you 15 ways that you can improve your cash flow. Now, again, if you have achieved goals 5, 6, and 7 that we've outlined before, these may not be relevant or useful to you, but chances are, as you're working toward those first 2 or 3 goals, you may need some of these tactics. And I want to just go over them with you, because many times business owners come to me and they say, man, I just need some cash here. I'm in a bind. I need to find a way to create more liquidity for what I need to do. And so here are 15 ways that you can do that. Number 1, collect outstanding receivables. I talk to business owners on a regular basis who let receivables get old. They let them age. I remember one client I was working with, we were talking, and she had this business and it was a very successful business, but she was always tight with cash. And so she came to me and said, I need help on this. And so the first thing I said is, what are your receivables? How much do you have out in receivables? And she kind of shamedly put her head down, and she had more than $100,000, and she was a small business, but she had more than $100,000 in receivables that were more than 30 days old. Many of these were 60, 90 days. Some of them were 120 days old. She had not been collecting her money. And so I said, the first thing you've got to do is let's create a plan and implement it to collect some of that money, because you're not a bank. You're not there to loan money to people. You're there to collect money for your services. And so the first way that you can generate cash is make sure you're collecting all of the receivables that are due you, and make sure you're collecting them on time. So the way you do that is you have a documented procedure for collections, and we'll talk about that more when we get into our session on your operations manual and creating a turnkey business. So the first way to improve cash flow is collect outstanding receivables. The second way to improve cash flow is to reduce costs. Start with your direct costs, your cost of goods. Is there a way to reduce costs? Is there a way to save money there? Maybe buying on different terms or buying in different quantities, maybe using a different type of product. You never want to compromise your quality or integrity, but look for ways to reduce costs first on your cost of goods and your cost of labor. Those are typically the areas that get out of control first. And then once you feel like you've got a good handle on cost of goods and cost of labor, then look at your expenses, your expense items. Is there a way to reduce costs there? So the second way to improve cash flow is reduce costs. The third way is improve internal controls. Make sure you've got good controls in your office, in your staff. Sometimes I work with businesses where their employees have expense accounts, they have company credit cards, they're driving company vehicles, so they're purchasing gas and things like that. And sometimes these costs get out of control because they don't have good internal accountability or internal controls. And so if you don't know exactly what that means, talk to your CPA. Go online and just look up internal controls policy, and you'll get some ideas and some more insights. Or in our coaching with clients, we help them identify areas where they need to improve their internal controls. So number 3, improve internal controls. The fourth way to improve cash flow is increase sales. I mean, this one's obvious. If you can do that, increase sales. But you want to make sure as you do, you don't increase overhead and reduce profitability. So increase sales is a good way. Number 5 is increase prices. Many small businesses undercharge for their products or services. And so I encourage you to have courage and think about, am I charging enough? And so you may want to increase your prices. If if you're lacking confidence or you're scared about this, I recommend a book entitled Pricing with Confidence. It's an excellent book. You can get it and read it because you want to price your services appropriately, competitively, but at a place where you can truly make money. And many times small business owners, they're scared. And so look at your pricing. Are you charging enough for your services? Number 6 way to improve cash flow is possibly owner financing. That's where you as an owner, you loan some money, or you give sweat equity to your business for a period of time. Again, these are stopgap measures to help you get through hard times. So owner financing. Number 7, you could leverage a line of credit from your bank. I think it's always a wise idea to have a line of operating credit from your bank. I hope you're building a relationship with a banker that you kind of keep them informed about where your business is and how you're growing, because when that time comes that you need something from the bank, if you do not have that relationship, it's going to be much more difficult to get the support and the assistance you need. So build that relationship and consider maybe it's time for a line of credit. Number 8 way to improve cash flow is you can just get a loan. Get a note, get a loan. Many times business owners use credit cards. Be very careful with this. Make sure if you do it, it's short term and you got a way and a plan and a timeline to pay that back. Number 9 is enlist equity partners. Sometimes when businesses need to expand, they have opportunity for rapid growth, they will enlist equity partners and get partners to come in, shareholders if you will, and don't ever give up control of your business. You should always be the majority shareholder and the dominant decision maker. But you may want to bring in a few or at least one equity partner who will invest in your business and give them a target return that you want them to receive and a timeline when they might receive that. And so that's another way to generate cash. Number 10 is you can liquidate assets. If you have assets in your business, fixed assets, property, other assets, concrete assets, you can sell those and liquidate. That will help you pay off debt, or that will help you generate cash in a bind. Number 11 is reduce or control inventory. If your business is the kind of business that you have inventory, make sure you've got tight and good controls on your inventory, because inventory can get out of control. And before you know it, you've spent a lot of money on inventory and you got this inventory sitting in your warehouse or in your shop and you're not using it. So either reduce that inventory or put in new measures of control on that inventory. Number 12, build up an operating reserve. And again, my recommendation is initially you want to have at least 2 or 3 weeks of operating reserve, because once you get to that place and beyond in your goals, you've got money, you got cash that you can tap into. Now, you don't want to do it frequently, and you don't want to do it without having a plan for replacing it in a timely manner, because chances are you may need it again down the road. So build that operating reserve for this very purpose. Number 13 is shorten the due date on your receivables. Many times we bill our customers and we don't put a due date on there, or we give them 30 days or 45 days or 60 days. You know, maybe you need to give them 10 days. That's right, 10 days would be okay for many, many businesses, especially if you start educating your customers and let them know this is coming, this is going to be our new procedure, our new policy. So maybe you need to shorten the due date on your receivables. Number 14 is set up monthly reoccurring contracts and agreements. So many times if you set up an ongoing contract, you can get a better rate, you can get a better price on things. And that too can help you improve your cash flow. Maybe instead of making a large sum payment, you can make smaller payments over time. So again, these are things, monthly reoccurring contracts or agreements is another way to improve your cash flow. And then number 15, the last one, I typically don't recommend this, but some situations it might make sense. And that's called factoring. And factoring is simply where you sell your receivables. Some businesses operate this way as a way of life. And so if that makes sense to you in your business, that might be something for you to consider. Factoring is simply where a company will buy maybe 80% of your good receivables, give you cash immediately, and they'll collect it over time. There's a price to pay if you do that, so make sure that makes good sense. These are 15 ways that you can improve your cash flow. I hope you will take them to heart, think about what makes sense for you, and make sure you stay in a positive cash situation.